Hey everybody, this is my 10-gallon Pea Puffer tank in my office, and tonight I want to do a little bit of water change on it. If you'll notice in the back left corner there, you can see that rubber lip pleco. That fish has done a fantastic job of getting this tank nice and clean. You can see how shiny everything is. Not long ago, this tank had lots and lots of growth all over the back glass, and basically the rocks on the gravel and everything was just nasty and covered. But I've mentioned before that these animals will not eat the green cyanobacteria. They will eat small amounts of it if it's mixed in with whatever's growing on the glass and so on and so forth. But they won't just eat the cyanobacteria. So here you can see how I've got this sort of green film growing across some of the plants in here. That is definitely not something that this fish is going to devour on its own. I've even got a few little patches over here where the leaves have green on them if all the fish would get out of the way. And then down here we have a little mat of cyanobacteria. Now that was on the glass, and as the rubber lip sort of scraped his way down the glass, he kind of scraped the cyanobacteria off, and it sort of left this little sheet of it sitting on the bottom of the tank. And there might be a few more little chunks of that in the tank here somewhere. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do my normal method of removing this, which is going to be by using a siphon and not using the gravel vac. I'm just going to use an open tubed siphon, and that will just draw the stuff right out. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use a very small hose, and I'm not going to do much of a water change. You know, probably about a gallon will come out total by the time I'm done. But I'm just going to use a small piece of airline tubing, and I'm going to try to go around and work over the leaves. The small tubing will do a couple things. It will draw less water out of the tank, so it'll give me more time to work. When you've got a hose that's just gushing water out of the tank, you got about 2 minutes in a 10-gallon tank before you're done. So you got to get everything out while you can. So this will give me all the time I want. And it'll also not be such a vigorous suction that it'll rip plants right up out of the ground or pick up gravel, you know, if I get anywhere too close to the bottom. So I'll be able to get in there and sort of go over all these leaves and that sort of thing, and hopefully we will be able to get this tank a lot cleaner. And then once we get it down to sort of a basic amount of clean, the rubber lip hopefully will continue to keep it that way, because they certainly do scour over the leaves of plants and they keep your plants clean. I've never had any issues with rubber lips eating my plants, but they do scrape over them and they do eat anything that grows on them. So once again, I will say that the rubber lips are just fantastic fish for helping keep your tank clean. So I'm going to get started with it. I will try to shoot some video and we will see how it turns out. I'll hope for the best. If I can get some actual footage of me doing this to show you what I'm talking about, I will. If not, we'll be back in just a moment with a little bit of an after look here. Alright, let's see if we can't get some of this to knock loose. Now, I might actually not have enough suction here to get this stuff broken loose off the leaf. There we go, there's a little bit of it. Hope this is coming out on camera. I'm looking more at what I'm doing than where I'm holding the camera. Well, let's see if we can get this piece drawn up and out of here. I can't really stick my hand down in the tank, so I got to try to work the hose down in there with my fingers. And of course it's not going to cooperate. You can see how it's kind of growing onto the stones. And of course now I've got the stone stuck in there. Alright, see if we can pull these off of here. And I've also got a lot less to worry about as far as accidentally catching a fish with the siphon hose here, which is a problem if you've got a larger hose. Well, I was hoping this would work a little better than it is. I'm going to keep working my way at it. You can see it's sort of getting this leaf here clean. I need 2 hands to do this. So I'll get in here. Like I said, I'll keep plugging away at it nice and slowly. There we go. There's a nice little chunk got sucked up and out of there. So I'm getting there. It's coming slowly but surely. It's just not real. There we go. That's a little bit better look at it. There we go. That's what I was hoping to see. It would actually just sort of grab sheets of it. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, so that gives you a pretty good idea how easily you can just draw a bunch of this stuff out when it's working properly, and I'm actually able to draw it up and out of here. It just comes off in big chunks and sheets. And all it takes is a few minutes and a little bit of patience to get in there with a siphon hose, and you can get the whole tank clean. So I'm going to keep working away at this. Again, with this little tiny hose I probably haven't even put an inch of water in the bucket yet, but we've already got that much cyanobacteria in there. So I've got quite a ways to go. So I'm going to keep working. I'll see you in a moment. Alright, and there's your final product. Looks pretty good. I got most of it out, but there's still a ton of it in there that I'll never be able to fully get out. And again, I don't really care. It'll just come back and I'll spend 10 minutes, 2 months from now doing the same thing. It amounts to nothing more than getting in there and doing a little bit of tank maintenance and a water change, basically. So the tank looks pretty good. I was able to get a bunch of the stuff out of there. I was not able to get a lot of the stuff off of this little water wisteria right there. I got some of it off, but some of it is just really stuck on there. So it's doing better than it was, but it still has plenty left. And then you can see I didn't get all of it off of this fern. I knew I wasn't going to get it all off that fern, but I got a good portion of it. And you can see my little puffers there in the back hiding in the corner, sort of. It's only been about 10 minutes since I finished, and it's getting kind of late in the evening, and I need to get downstairs and get everybody fed down there, so I'm just going to go ahead and shoot this and get it wrapped up. But it looks pretty good, like I said, not perfect. I've still got quite a bit in there that I didn't get out. It'll grow back, and I'll be doing this again in the future. If you've been following my videos for any length of time, you know that dealing with the cyanobacteria is just something that I deal with the same way most people deal with algae, so it's no big deal. I've shot enough videos explaining why I have it in so many of my tanks and how it gets transferred around and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into that now. But I do want to make one point that I noticed while I was in the tank tonight, and this seems kind of silly, but I just discovered it after 5 years or so of keeping fish, and that is that my hang on the back filter back there was rattling. And it does that from time to time. It's kind of annoying. I sort of tap the cover over it and sort of jiggle the thing around, and it'll sometimes rattle a little less and get a little more quiet. But today it was in there, it was rattling. I just kind of figured it's getting old. And what happened was, when I got in there, you can see how much stuff is still stuck on the intake. It had a lot of stuff stuck on the intake, and I didn't realize how much was really on there. And I was able to get almost a good handful of it off of there. And as soon as I pulled it all off and the water was able to flow freely again, the rattling stopped. And it was like a light bulb going off for me. The rattling was coming from the fact that it was struggling to draw water through there, and it was causing all sorts of vibrations and everything. Now that the water flows freely, all of those vibrations stopped and the water's just flowing. So live and learn, like I always say. It seems kind of silly after all these years. It never occurred to me that that's what was causing that to rattle, but apparently that's what it was. So now I know when I'm hearing that thing rattle, maybe it's time to get in there and look at some more maintenance. So, like I say, I always share all of my little tidbits with everybody, good, bad, or indifferent. And again, as silly as that may seem, that was my little discovery for this evening. So I'm quite pleased with that. Now I know what that rattling was caused by, and I'm really happy it's quiet, because that was really getting annoying. So thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't really have a lot to get done downstairs tonight, but I always have plenty going on down in the fish room. Don't forget, this one is my Pea Puffer Tank. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.